and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan and it's time for my Game Week 32 team selection video. We'll be talking about transfers, captaincy, as well as much more in terms of strategy for the remainder of the season. Guys, if you enjoy this one, make sure you drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get started with last game week scores. Okay, so wow, Game Week 31 worked out. It really did, and it started to feel like a lot of my planning over the last couple of months is finally starting to come together with a very nice score of 76 points, boosting my rank by almost 100,000 places. So really pleased with that, and I just get this feeling this is the start of the end of the season for me, where everything is going to start coming together and we can finally solidify a really nice rank for the end of the season. And I've got to remind myself, FPL is a game played over 38 game weeks. The only rank that matters is the one at the end, and I think we've got the tools in place now to go forward and complete this season. Now, a lot of good scores from my players this game week. Nori coming in clutch with the goal. He looks fantastic playing in those attacking positions. We also got the likes of Foden and Palmer. A hat-trick for each of the English midfielders in this game week was very nice. However, captaincy and players like Saka and Haaland didn't quite come off. You know, Salah being substituted after 59 minutes, and also the likes of Haaland and Saka not even getting a game, not even getting a minute's game time in Game Week 31 meant that Charlie Taylor came off my bench and I ended up playing with 10 men. But considering I played with 10 men, one of which was Charlie Taylor, I would have to say 76 points I'm very pleased with, and I'm kind of getting more and more happy with my team as each week goes by. I think we're in a good place, and I want to continue to build on this rank rise and continue maybe some good FPL form from myself. Let me show you how we're going to go into Game Week 32. Before we go any further, you may have noticed that there have been no final decisions videos over the last couple of game weeks covering all those final game week information. However, we have still got you covered with all of the latest team news, as the latest edition of the Lazy FPL newsletter is now out. Now, almost 50,000 FPL managers, including myself, are already signed up to receive early team news, crucial information and data ahead of each deadline. I'll be working closely with this newsletter for the remainder of the season too, so you'll even get more FPL Mate content delivered to your mailboxes each week. It's 100% free, so there's no reason to miss out on all of this FPL cheat code information. I've left a link in the description to the Game Week 32 newsletter if you want to check it out, but make sure you sign up using your email to get more crucial FPL news straight to your inbox as soon as it drops. Link in the description or in the pinned comment if you want to check it out. 100% free, you will not regret it, and you will get all of that team news, team leaks and everything like that in your inboxes. Honestly, it's perfect. Check it out. So we've got one free transfer, 1.6 million in the bank. Let me show you how I'm planning on lining up. Starting off in goal with Kelleher against Manchester United. Now, I don't know if this is the greatest fixture in the world for Liverpool, but from a defensive point of view in particular, but I have to say, Kelleher is obviously a goalkeeper in some good form. Very unfortunate to concede the own goal last game week and conceding a wonder goal against Brighton the week before. It does actually seem like Liverpool's defensive numbers are up significantly, and that's kind of coming across on the pitch as well. So I do think Liverpool are one of the strongest defences in the Premier League at the moment. They're no Arsenal, don't get me wrong. Man City probably slightly ahead of them, but Liverpool, third best defence in the league at the moment. You'd probably say you have to back them against anyone as long as Kelleher continues to play. I think this could be one of his last game weeks before Alisson comes back in, so willing to roll the dice on him once again. Gabriel in defence plays against Brighton, who have been struggling a little bit to score goals more recently. To be fair to Brighton, they have been doing pretty well defensively themselves, but they're not scoring. They're not scoring goals, and Gabriel and Arsenal's defence, who are doing so well at the moment, you do expect them to keep a clean sheet against anyone. This fixture is going to be no different either. Next up, Nori with a fixture against West Ham, and with West Ham's defence kind of not so strong, you do expect the attackers from Wolves to do quite well against West Ham. Well, Nori, despite being listed as a defender, is an attacker right now, whilst the likes of Cunha and Hwang Hee-chan are still not at 100% fitness. Nori is playing really well in those attacking positions. I actually thought he was probably the best player on the pitch for Wolves against Burnley, and his attacking threat is really there at the moment, and he is doing so well. Man of the match in that game, really impressive stuff, and I think once again he'll be a crucial attacker in this game against West Ham. I'm backing him to get more attacking returns in this game, even if West Ham do manage to maybe score in this game, but you never know. Wolves also capable of a clean sheet against some of the weaker oppositions in the Premier League. We've got Zabani finishing off our defence against Luton Town. Luton's defensive numbers are weak, so Zabani's probably not going to be able to capitalise on that because his attacking threat is pretty much non-existent. However, Luton's attacking numbers are down a lot. Now, I know Luton do have this knack of scoring goals very, very often, but their attacking numbers are actually kind of really seeing a new low. They are kind of second worst in the Premier League over the last 5 or 6 game weeks, which is quite interesting, I would say. So, Zabani, could there be a clean sheet here, backing up the clean sheet of last game week? I think so, because Bournemouth, they're not conceding too many chances. Luton not creating too much. Maybe we could sneak a clean sheet here, but you never know with Luton. Like I say, they have that knack of scoring goals. In midfield, we've got Mo Salah to start us off against Manchester United, who have a clear weakness on that, I guess, left side of their own defence. We saw Chelsea create so much down that channel against Manchester United, and they're just conceding more and more chances every game week. There's no team that's kind of conceding more shots and chances in and around the box than Manchester United at the moment. They really are one of the weakest defences in the Premier League right now, and you would imagine that Liverpool and Salah, with that rest in the midweek, 59-minute pre-planned sub, we would have thought Salah will be fresh and ready to go to play 90 minutes against Manchester United, attacking their weak flank. This could be really huge given the form that Man United are in, the kind of chaos around Manchester United, the fact that United are now missing more centre-backs, Varane and Evans getting injured in that game against Chelsea. They just kind of look all over the place defensively. That Chelsea result will be a real hit to the pride of Manchester United, and I think Liverpool could really take advantage of this situation and score some goals in this game, and you would imagine that Salah is going to be a big part of that. Next up, Saka. Now, we're not 100% sure if he is going to be available or not. Arteta, once again, keeping his cards close to his chest, not really revealing the availability of Saka, but he has said that Saka, you know, it's not like he's completely unavailable. Like, he is going to have some late tests to see if he will be okay or not. He was rested in the midweek because he has this minor issue that has been ongoing, but this game week, there is still a very decent chance he could start and play against Brighton, particularly as Arsenal look to make a challenge really on Liverpool for that first place slot. Phil Foden up next, a player I'm very happy I managed to keep, and I think one benefit of me never having Son was me being able to have Foden for all of this time instead. And again, against Crystal Palace, I think if he continues the form that he showed last game week, the confidence that he was showing, the little skills and tricks in and around the box to dribble and weave past players against a Crystal Palace defence that do like to sit back a little bit, they can be quite defensively solid. I think Foden is going to be a real crucial player in this game week, so I'm really actually very excited to see what Foden can produce once again against Crystal Palace. After that, of course, we do have Luton Town, which is again a really exciting one. And completing the midfield, the other hat-trick hero of Game Week 31, Cole Palmer against Sheffield United. I actually think Sheffield United were quite rigid for a lot of the game against Liverpool, but we know Sheffield United, when they play at home, are often a worse team than they are when they play away. So I think Sheffield United are definitely going to be a team that concedes a lot of goals. Now, Palmer, granted, 2 penalties and a deflected goal in Game Week 31. It looks great on the FPL points, and you absolutely take those. However, is he going to be able to kind of give the same amount of potency as a Salah against Manchester United? We'll talk about captaincy in just a few moments' time, but overall, Palmer is just such a good player, in such good form, in such good confidence at the moment, that you back him against anyone, and you particularly back him against a weak team like Sheffield United. A crucial, essential player, and I think this could be another big game week for him. Up front, Erling Haaland, full rest in Game Week 31. He looked like he was going to come on against Aston Villa, but because Man City went up by so many goals against Aston Villa, Haaland went back to the bench and kind of just took the whole game off as a nice rest. That will be the big rest with a lot of Manchester City fixtures coming up. They're going to be playing a lot of games over the next, the rest of the season, really. So that was Haaland's rest, and you imagine for the rest of the season, he can play every single game week. You know, once a player has had their rest, it is often a good sign under Pep Guardiola that they'll just continue to play and play and play. And that's what I think we'll see from Haaland now. Crystal Palace is the early fixture, which is something we never usually like to back. And I don't think they are that weak defensively, Palace, but you still back the likes of Foden and Haaland with all the quality they have to really make a difference and score some goals against Palace. A couple of goals has surely got to come the way of these two Man City attackers. Darwin Núñez, again, against this weak Manchester United defence, I think could cook as long as Darwin actually does start. 90 minutes in Game Week 31 in the midweek does often signal that maybe he will get reduced minutes in Game Week week 32? I'm just putting that one out there. I do still think he will start, to be fair, and I think a fixture like this is a huge opportunity indeed. And Solanke finishes off my starting 11 against Luton Town. Weak defence. We know Luton Town are a weak defence. Loads of injury problems at Luton at the moment as well. This could be a really, really nice opportunity for Solanke to go and do the business there and continue the good form that he's kind of shown all season, really. Penalties as well for Solanke is always nice indeed. On the bench, we've got Neto. I could double up on the Bournemouth defence against Luton Town, but I think I would rather maybe hedge my bets a little bit. We're going for Kelleher as my goalkeeper this week. Don't think there's too much in it between the two goalkeepers this week. Then again, I said that last game week, and Neto ended up outscoring Kelleher. Charlie Taylor against Everton, I actually don't think that's a bad fixture at all. And in a worst case scenario where Saka doesn't play, I think this could be a little bit worse. You know, could do worse than Taylor against Everton. Burnley are not quite as bad defensively as a lot of people kind of make them out to be, and Everton just cannot score at all. Hwang Hee-chan is apparently getting closer and closer to fitness. He could even get some minutes in game week 32, but it looks like he could be back by game week 33. So he is a player I'm probably at this stage more than happy to hold on to. And purpose of Stupinian, there ain't no way I'm playing this man against Arsenal FC. He can stay third on the bench, and it would take a real disaster, kind of like in game week 31, to see a Stupinian get any minutes in my FPL team. So there we go. That's my team. Let's think about what kind of transfers we can make. So like I say, I'm really happy with my team right now, and as such, there's not really too many players I'd be willing to sacrifice. And the two players in my starting 11 I would be willing to sacrifice for slightly different reasons. Kelleher, I do like him as a pick at the moment, but I do appreciate that by the time we get to game week 34, the big double game week that I've been planning for so long, Kelleher is probably not going to be the starting goalkeeper for Liverpool. Of course, there's a chance, but it's more than likely that Alisson will be back by that point. So would it be a good idea to remove Kelleher from my team now against this tougher game for the Liverpool defence in order to free up an additional Liverpool slot to bring in a Van Dijk or a Luis Diaz or someone like that, maybe McAllister, for game week 34? I can see that being a decent plan, trying to think in the future, think forward in order to get something good here. We've got Saka is obviously potentially going to be out this game week. Is he a risky player at this point? Is he going to continue to have these injury problems, and could that impact his minutes in game week 34 with the double? I'm not actually sure at this moment, but if we get any leaks that Saka maybe doesn't start this week, I could consider removing him, I suppose. But ideally, I really would like to have this player for the game week 34 double. On my bench, we've got the likes of Taylor, always a player I'd be willing to sacrifice, but it would be very much a luxury move. Hwang, again, I think it would be a luxury move as he is due to come back very soon. Stupinian, however, I would be willing to sacrifice maybe to bring in another double game week defender, but I already have 3 double game week defenders for game week 34 anyway, so again, maybe that would be a bit of a luxury move. And Stupinian does face Burnley next game week as well, so he is even potentially a player I could actually start in game week 33. So I'm not really sure I want to remove any of these players particularly, but some of them I could potentially remove, thinking ahead, trying to plan ahead a little bit. Now, there's plenty of players I am interested in bringing in, and most of them are Arsenal and Liverpool players, because I want to make sure I've got the right triple up on both Arsenal and Liverpool for game week 34. For Arsenal, I only have the 2 players, Saka and Gabriel. For Liverpool, I have Salah, I have Darwin, but I'm not totally happy with owning Kelleher for game week 34. So I do want to switch around that a little bit. Raya is definitely the goalkeeper I would be looking at right now if I was to make a goalkeeper switch. For defenders, Van Dijk is my ideal Liverpool defender, and White is my ideal Arsenal defender, although I am slightly favouring Raya as my third Arsenal defensive pick. Or I could go into the midfield. We've got the likes of Ødegaard and Havertz in good form at the moment, and maybe they're the kind of picks that could look very nice in my team. Could I potentially sacrifice Hwang if I'm worried about his minutes maybe in game week 34? Or could I sacrifice Saka if, again, I'm worried about his minutes as well, and bring in the likes of Ødegaard or Havertz, potentially? Luis Diaz is also a player who I very much admire at the moment, and Eberechi Eze, probably not the game week to bring him in against Man City and then Liverpool the following game week, but Eze in game week 34 is a player I will almost certainly have unless he gets injured. Would it be a good idea to bring him in now, potentially as bench cover for the likes of Hwang? That's definitely something I can think about. So I think there's probably 3 options for me this game week. First of all, I could just roll the transfer. There's nothing I immediately crucially need to do to my team. I think in general, I'm in a pretty good shape right now. Saka would be the only problem. And the way I could kind of fix that is I could kind of remove Saka if there was a problem there, or kind of make another transfer for my bench to bring in some Saka cover, I guess, like an Ezef or Hwang Hee-chan potentially, or bring in another defender for a Stupinian potentially, or I could just stick with Taylor. Of course, I could do this Liverpool switcheroo and remove Kelleher now, get in my 3rd Arsenal player, and prepare to bring in my 3rd Liverpool player who is different from Kelleher in a future game week, maybe next week, maybe the week after that, or simply I could just switch Saka to Ødegaard if I think Saka is not going to play. I would say those are my 3 big options for this game week, but as you guys know, when you are not quite sure what to do, when you don't have any major problems in your team, quite often the best thing to do is nothing. So that's the plan right now, to do nothing, to roll the transfer into game week 33, because I would quite like to have 2 transfers in game week 34. I'd like to have 2 transfer moves to make so I can really maximize the amount of double game week players I have in game week 34. So saving a transfer now might actually be a good idea, something I thank myself for later, and I'm not going to need any hits to really maximize my game week 34 squad. In terms of captaincy, I am currently on Salah, and I really don't know if I'll have the guts to actually go through with this one. Cole Palmer is my vice captain, of course, and I think Cole Palmer will be the popular captain for this game week, given he just scored 20 points in game week 31 and was about to play Sheffield United, and Salah scored just 1 point and he just played Sheffield United. So I guess a lot of people will naturally gravitate towards Palmer, given the vast differences in the scores between the 2 players. But there are multiple ways you can look at it, and the reason I'm trying to go with Salah, and I'm only human, and I know that 20-pointer with Palmer really tempts you over to his side, and you're always going to have that in the back of your head, particularly when you know everyone else is going to do that. But I'm trying to bypass that and try and think about this logically. Palmer scored so many points against Manchester United. Salah is the player who plays Manchester United this game week. Sheffield United actually looks a little bit rigid and tough at times, and I think Palmer, you know, playing against them might not have as much joy against Sheffield United as he did against Manchester United. And one more thing, Palmer scored 2 penalties and a huge deflected goal. They count all the same in terms of FPL points, but aren't these repeatable? Well, obviously the penalties have proven to be repeatable for Chelsea. They have a knack of nicking those penalties in and around the box with their technical ability there, but just as easily, Salah could score penalties in game week 32 as well. Just because Palmer scored a bunch of penalties in game week 31 doesn't mean a different player like Salah might not score a bunch of penalties in game week 32 as well. Remember, Manchester United are the team that conceded the 2 penalties. So there are multiple ways of looking at this. I know most people will gravitate towards Palmer. A lot of me actually wants to do that as well, but I can't shake the feeling that Salah against Manchester United, the great form Salah has always shown against United, the fact that this should be a more open game, the fact that he is attacking Manchester United's far weaker side, the fact that Manchester United are pretty much going to have to play probably with either a youth player at centre-back, or, do some kind of other defensive things to try and cover all of their injuries they have in the defensive positions at the moment. I just think there's a huge opportunity here where so many people will ignore Salah, and this is an opportunity to go differential on the captaincy. But then again, saying that, guys, my captain picks this season have not been great, and that's been a huge part of why my rank is where it is at the moment, because I've consistently got captaincy shouts wrong. So maybe I should do this for you guys. Captain Salah, so all of you guys can captain Palmer in peace, knowing that you guys know that I'll obviously get it wrong. It seems to always be the play. But then if I captain Palmer, that one probably goes wrong. So yeah, I don't really know what the solution is there. I just can't help but back Salah at the moment, although I might bottle it later on. I do want to go over my plans for future game weeks though. So I am once again on the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool to continue to plan for future game weeks. If you like the idea of planning out your team as well as getting these crucial predicted points, make sure you do go check out this tool. There is a link in the description, although I know a lot of you guys are already using this tool every week to help plan your team and boost your ranks. But a few interesting things for game week 32, first of all, is that Kelleher is predicted slightly more points than Neto with 3.7, so that does lean me towards Kelleher in that 50-50 decision. Another 50-50 decision is about the captaincy, Salah versus Palmer, and I think Salah, because he has predicted so many more points than Palmer, I think that is probably a good sign that maybe I'm looking in the right direction here with the Salah captaincy. Often, if you really do see something and you really strongly believe something in FPL, definitely go with your gut and what you're seeing and what you're believing. But if you do have a 50-50 decision, sometimes the fact that we have got this computer that basically calculates all of the underlying numbers and calculates who's more likely to get more points in a completely unbiased way, I do find that very, very, very helpful when I just want that subjective, well, non-subjective opinion on what decision I should be making. So I love this tool for splitting those 50-50 decisions, and I think that is helping me give that confirmation bias perhaps on the Salah captaincy. And one more thing, Charlie Taylor actually predicted more points than Zabani. So, you know, I think actually, even though I probably would still prefer to play Zabani, it does kind of give me confidence that if Saka is unavailable, well, at least Taylor does have that small chance of a clean sheet against Everton. That's not too bad, really. In Game Week 33, I am going to have a big decision to make, and a lot of it's going to be around Kelleher, whether he is going to continue to play or if Alisson is back, and it's also going to be about Hwang Hee-chan. Is he available? Is he looking likely that he is going to start 2 games in double Game Week 34? These are going to be the big decisions to be made. So I'm not locked in or anything. Kelleher, if he is, for whatever reason, if he is not going to be playing in Game Week 33 because Alisson is back, then I think a simple switch to Raya would probably be the move. Of course, we will play this by ear. There's still a chance that Kelleher might even play in Game Week 34, in which case I would not need a move here at all. But yeah, just kind of thinking what kind of moves I could potentially make. Game Week 33, I would still, 34, I would still have 2 free transfers to use. And I think what I would probably do at this point is I'd look to bench Palmer, play Hee-chan if he's available, and actually switch Foden down to Eze. And at that point, I could either play... Let's just make that that transfer real quick. I could either play Zabani here, or I could potentially move Estupinian to Van Dijk and play Van Dijk instead of Zabani. Or if Hee-chan, I'm not sure about Hee-chan's minutes potentially, I could move Hee-chan actually to a Liverpool. Some kind of Liverpool midfielder, go triple Liverpool midfield, maybe Luis Diaz, although you would probably say that, you know, maybe Luis Diaz is kind of risky on a double game week, particularly if the likes of Jota is back by that point. But there's definitely a couple of different options for me that are all available depending on what happens. And I kind of like the fact that I do have that flexibility to try and take advantage of Game Week 34 in the best way possible, because of kind of rolling transfers, keeping the options open and being aware of different scenarios and outcomes that could happen around Kelleher, around Hee-chan as well. So we're probably going to play a few things by ear over the next 2 game weeks, but what should be said is that we are in a pretty good spot actually right now, and kind of liking the look of how my team is going to look in this week, 33 and 34 as well. And in Game Week 35, because that new double game week has been announced between Spurs and Chelsea, well, it's going to be wildcard time in Game Week 35. So let's go all in Game Week 34 and then kind of refresh my squad again in Game Week 35, which is definitely going to be a very exciting time in FPL. There we have it, guys. I would really love to hear your thoughts on my team, whether you would make any transfers to my team, whether you would change the captaincy from Salah to Palmer. I imagine most of you would probably do that one. But yeah, if you did enjoy this one, do make sure you drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here, and check out the FPL newsletter, Lazy FPL, in the description or pinned comment, because it's going to give you that crucial information ahead of the deadline every single game week. So useful. A lot of you might be subscribed already, and you'll probably recommend it as well. But do check out another video. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching once again. See you on tomorrow's deadline stream, and I will see you later, mates.